Today we're being joined by a very special guest from the West Perth WAFLW Football Club, Ruby Freeman. Ruby, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Cooper.
No worries. Tell us a bit about yourself, what got you into footy, and what type of player you are.
So my name's Ruby Freeman. I'm actually from the country up north, Marlborough. I used to live on a farm, and then I moved to Perth and went to boarding school. And so at boarding school, a few of my friends, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go join a local footy club," and that footy club was Wembley Magpies. So I joined with them. I was kind of just playing as like a social thing, and then I started to really love footy. So I started to put the effort in and got picked up and asked, like, invited by Claremont and picked up in the Metro Development Squad that kind of took me towards Claremont as well. And so I started at Claremont. Now I'm at West Perth.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just coincidental timing, and it's very proud on, I'm sure, for you. But you were told last night, so this is great timing, that you're going to make your Waffle League debut for West Perth. First off, congratulations, and how are you feeling?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is like where I started in Rogers Cup. This is where I've been wanting to go to make it to league, and all my hard work and efforts have kind of got me here now, and I'm really glad, quite excited.
That's good. So, obviously, you're only 18, so obviously you're still in that draft prospect contention type of thing, though. But how hard was the move from Claremont, obviously, then moving over to West Perth?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, still have so much love for Claremont, but I was looking for bigger and better opportunities, and West Perth have really given me that, obviously. And my roommate, actually, Matilda Bain, she played there, so I was kind of gave me a little bit of a, confidence boost to make the move, and so I did, and I would never look back.
It's really good. So, yeah, it's good. So, obviously, prior to this West Perth move, obviously, first joining Claremont, you mentioned a bit off the top how you got into it with Wembley and everything, but how was the jump from local footy to play originally at that point at Claremont?
So many girls from my Wembley team ended up at Claremont. Like, I think probably 6 or 7 of us. So it's not like I moved to a completely new team. But it was a big change in like professionalism, I guess. Like the way you carried yourself and conducted yourself around training was a lot different. There were a few less laughs and a little bit more seriousness. And I guess, but I liked that, and I liked the going from training once a week to training 3 times a week. I don't know, it really helped me improve, and I kind of started to pick up things, and it's a lot better.
That's good. So how are you feeling now? Obviously, we just mentioned it before about getting told you're making your debut. Now, how are you feeling leading up in a few days later? Oh, a few days' time you're making that debut.
I am definitely quite nervous. Like last night, I don't think I slept a wink. Like I just sat there thinking. But in the end, I have played senior footy before, and I've played in the preseason league, so I need to kind of remember that it's not going to be too much different, and I just got to play my game and not let things get in my head.
So true. So obviously, what type of position do you play, and what role do you expect to play now at West Perth?
Well, I like to think of myself as a utility. I've kind of played everywhere, like my whole footy career, from a small forward to I was predominantly an inside mid or half back, but now I'm playing kind of like half back flank or in the pocket, which I'm actually quite loving, and I feel like is really my position I've found.
That's good. I mean, as I always tell everyone, utility is key, isn't it, Ruby? Because you want to make it in any league, really. I mean, yeah, you can be positioned in one spot, but if you're underperforming and there's people that aren't in that play that role, you're more than likely to find yourself out. But for versatility, if you're struggling in one spot or a position short, you're more than likely to keep your spot in the team.
Yeah, for sure. And playing all different positions kind of gives you an insight of what your opposition like is thinking because you've played that position and you know what they would be thinking. So it kind of gives you the up edge.
That's right, exactly. So, obviously, some accomplishments you had. Obviously, you in the WA state team at under-16s level. How was that with your cousin as well? So, how was that time playing in the state team? Obviously, playing against some of the best as well.
Yeah, so with my cousin Grace Freeman, she plays for East Freo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually fought a little bit occasionally, but it was good. Like, I feel like it's such a, rare opportunity to kind of play with your family at this level,
Yeah.
and I think that was pretty good. And I think our dads were pretty happy that they could both be at footy together. So that was pretty good. And yeah, like we had a bunch of great coaches, and I feel like I learned a lot from that.
That's good. I'm sure with Grace, it was always, despite being in the same team, there was some form of a rivalry, I suppose, to one up the other.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've always been quite competitive cousins. Yeah, definitely kind of working off each other, but I think that competitiveness also comes with lots of support and excitement for each other when we make those big milestones.
Good. So obviously you won a premiership in junior footy, but the whole game did not go to plan. You broke your ankle badly in the first quarter. How was that premiership? Because you won, but you also badly injured yourself. Was it a mixed feeling for you? How were you on that day leading up, and then when that injury happened, and then when you won?
I feel like I'd never been like really in a massive grand final like that where everyone else was so excited. Like, I don't know, I've kind of just like didn't really know what to think going into it. And then, started off the game pretty good. Broke my ankle though, but off the back of breaking my ankle, we got a free kick and one of the girls kicked the first goal, and that kind of got us off to a good start. But it's really hard to sit off on the sidelines and watch everyone else get to play out the grand final. Although I was in the team and got a medal, like I didn't get to put in as much effort as I'd liked.
So how hard was it to watch from the sidelines, knowing that not only are you injured, you got a pretty nasty injury. So it's not like it's just a stock standard, sore arm or fracture or something, but it's a broken ankle.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a lot of pain, so I think that kind of as well made me quite upset. But yeah, it was like thinking about having to be in a cast and all that was definitely a bit like I had never really broken a proper bone before. So as well, that was a bit like, yeah, but it wasn't great.
Sure, but at least you got the medallion in the end, I suppose. Now, obviously, you did have some individual success too at Claremont. You're obviously in the Rogers Cup, being the captain. How was it for you to be a captain of a team and be the leader?
Yeah, well, I don't know, it's a big honour to be, voted in by the girls and to be recognised like that. But also quite a stressful job. Like, you're always thinking about others as well. But it's quite an honour, and yeah.
So is leadership something you always wanted to be a part of, or was that something you just thrown in that year, or has that always been something you want to do? And are you going to still be doing that to some degree from a leadership point of view this year?
I guess at the start, obviously, I was at the younger age when I entered Rogers Cup. I think I might have been 14, turning 15. So I was quite naive and obviously not quite ready to be a leader. But, following the girls' lead and stuff like that, the older girls in the senior and older girls in the Rogers, I started to pick up an idea of what being a leader was. And so, I don't know, it started to work for me. And I think as I was getting older in the Rogers Cup age, I thought, I want to be a leader. So I put myself out there, put my hand up, saying I want to be in this leadership group and let the girls decide. And it happened. So it's pretty good. And I think everyone can be a leader as such, like without the label, definitely. But hopefully in the years to come, I will become a leader in West Perth. I'd love that.
That's good. As I always say, I mean, you don't have to have the title to be a leader as well. You don't even need to be in the leadership group to be a leader. You can be your off-field leader, off-title leader. in some degree, however you want to spin it. You can always be one sure about the title. Who did you grow up supporting?
Fremantle. I love Nat 5.
How do you feel that they went in the men's and women's this year? Obviously, both didn't go to plan, but obviously, aside for both sides, they can bounce back quite easily.
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit of a disappointing 2023. I mean, some ups and downs, but I think this year both sides will come back with a bang.
That's true. Have you ever had any AFL or AFLW player interactions as a fan? And if so, were there any memorable moments or forgettable ones?
I think I'm pretty lucky to say that I have, kind of interacted with lots of AFLW players on like a pretty casual, friendly basis.
Nice.
I guess I've played with some right now, like Ella Slocum, Georgie Cleaver, Emma Elkington. Like I've come up playing with them, so it's quite like a friendly relationship. And players like Megan Kaufman, who is a coach and player at West Perth. So in the WAFLW side, not quite, but I mean, I'm always a fan of lots of them. And AFL-wise, I definitely have met a few Fremantle players and Eagles players out. Some of them I'd known, like younger boys, like Clay Hall, who's just been drafted to Eagles, know him and stuff like that. So you kind of know a few, but I met Nat 5 before, and that was a big one for me. I love Nat 5.
Yes, lots of people do. I mean, and that's great that you mentioned all those names: Ella Slocum, Georgie Cleaver, etc., and the players that have been in the system already. How beneficial is it to? Oh, look, I know on a friend's side, I think it's awesome, and because of where they are and in general. But how important, from a football point of view, though, too, in terms of learning everything and understanding everything, is it to know people like that are just getting into it now, and how to handle this type of pressure and everything? And for people that are in it, what you need to do to get to this stage.
Yeah, well, they really do give you an insight, and knowing them personally kind of gives me the idea of, what I need to put in to get to the highest level, not just on field, but off field, all the hard work and stuff like that they put in to get to that spot where they are.
Absolutely. So what would you say some of your strengths as a footballer?
I'd like to think I'm pretty resilient. Like, the scoreboard doesn't affect me too much. I just am pretty good at keeping my headspace on field and not letting stuff get to me, kind of just playing footy, not dropping my head. And I would like to think that my contested groundwork's pretty good. I'm quite short, so I think kind of doing a bit of rovering and crumbing is my thing. Not really, obviously not at all. So
that's fair. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware. You may be aware of it. I don't know if you've watched it or not. But I recently did that goal kicking challenge with a bunch of the WAFLW, some of your current teammates and former teammates. Did you get a chance to see it? If so, how do you reckon it went?
I did watch a few snippets. I had a few laughs mostly. But yeah, I think all those girls, they all are like such different and vast players, but it's good to see them all like slotting it through the goals. It's great.
That's true. I mean, everyone did pretty well there was no, put it this way, there was no, clear standout. There was no, bad standout. It was pretty even to a degree, and it was just great to do it and have that many people. Now, you mentioned a few snippets too there. Who's some of the snippets that you did see? Were you interested by or impressed by? Obviously, someone must have said something or has seen it. Any current of those West Perth, so Kayla Vanderheeve, Ebony Jackson, or any previous of the Claremont girls, Georgia Webb, Angelique Raisin, etc.? Anything that come to mind in those clips?
I know Georgia Webb has actually had a good preseason, is what I've heard, and that she's really improved leaps and bounds. And I think I did see that in the video. I think she's definitely one to watch this season. She's going to be a ripper.
Sure, I agree there. That probably. Well, I reckon she was one of the better set shot kickers in that comp. No, she didn't win or anything like that. But like her goals went through, they went through comfortably. They weren't like scraping in. They weren't fluking in. They weren't just dribbling in. They walked straight through the middle. I feel she was one of the better set shot kickers of the people that participated, and definitely better than me, and that was not hard. Now, where was I? So how do you feel, though, heading into this year? Do you see yourself any goals personally for yourself this year?
Well, definitely one of my goals was to make my league debut. So that'll be a good one. But I'll just start setting goals throughout the season, whether it's touch-wise, like getting more disposals, whether it's taking more intercept marks. I'll see how I go round one and then, build on from there. But no, I tried to come in not putting too much pressure on myself, just trying to enjoy the season and, play some good footy.
It's fair. Now, obviously, previously playing at Claremont, so obviously, as you mentioned, there were 6 or 7 girls that came with you to that Claremont, and obviously getting to know people while you were there. If you were able to bring any player or players from another WAFLW club to join West Perth, who would you want and why?
Oh, that's such a hard question, but I think Georgia Shell from East Perth, she's such an explosive small forward but also has an incredible set shot on her. She's a left footer, so that's quite handy. She moves like a midfielder. She's got a good eye for the goals. I think she is quite incredible, and with some good coaching, I think she's got this.
That's good. Nice to have some lefties involved and some good goal scorers. You can't go wrong with goal scorers, that's for sure. Of the draftees that just recently got drafted, you mentioned a few off the top there, Valis Locombe and Georgia Cleaver, to highlight a few. Who's someone you're most excited to see that just recently been picked up, or someone that's been in the comp for a little bit that you're excited to see how they will go or continue to go in the competition?
For sure, Ellis Locombe, because I've played with her a bit in the Rogers Cup at Claremont. She's such a good girl, and she's so fantastic to watch. She's a really exciting player, and I'm super excited to see how she goes in the AFLW. I'm sure she'll do great.
Yeah, joining the Roos, who also had a good year themselves. Favourite teammates down at the club?
Oh, that's so hard. I'm gonna say Kayla Van here just because we're kind of water bottle buddies. And she's also just a great face to have around. She's so smiley and happy and, just always such a good teammate on field, off field. And she loves a good dance party before a game, just like me.
I haven't heard that one before. I seen her last week and had her on here as well. I didn't hear that one. That's interesting. Obviously, play comparisons. If you were to use an AFL or AFLW play comparison of the type of play you play like, Ruby, who would you say and why?
Oh, I think before I would have liked to say I really based my game off Hayley Miller when I was really in the midfield. But in the back line, I'm pretty unsure who I would. Maybe I'd like to say Nick Dacos, but probably not. No, but for sure, there's a lot of them that I kind of watch in the AFLW, and I try and replicate that in my game. But I still think Hayley Miller is such a role model for me. Like just her contested work, she's cool. She goes straight through and is super tough.
No, when people are sometimes hesitant to say a name, like for example, saying Nick Dacos, we know that's not what people mean. It's just like the style of play that you play like, and that style of play that he does, which is probably a good option actually, playing off halfback and playing through midfield, which you've previously done as well. That's a fair and reasonable comparison type of play you play like. Now, coaches' pets.
I don't know. I don't think anyone's too bad other than Alyssa Price. But I think that's just, Price is just super committed. But no one's too criminal. Like
that's fair enough. Now nicknames. So now Ruby, nicknames. Obviously nicknames go a variation of ways with some people. Do Do you get any nicknames that you like or dislike?
Most people just call me Rubes. Matilda Bain is now calling me Debbie because I'm making my debut. I used to get Blues because I used to wear blue boots. So a lot of people would call me Bloobs, but I'm pretty good for nicknames, luckily.
That's all right. Rubes is a nice and basic one, so it's a good thing not to have any off the cuff ones, I suppose. Any outside of footy interests that you have?
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like it's kind of sad to say that footy's kind of really my big interest. But I do love running. Like
Yep.
I used to do some run clubs every now and then, and in school I did cross country. I do enjoy that a lot, and I do run with my mum, which is kind of a shared thing we enjoy.
Nice.
But other than that, I kind of just stick to work, uni, and footy. Nothing too interesting.
That's all right. Any favourite TV shows or movies that you got?
Oh, my favourite TV show would probably be Suits. I love that. But currently I'm watching Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, they're two answers I've heard more than once, so that's interesting. Now, well, best goal you've ever kicked, Ruby? I know you said you started as a mid and then mainly as a backman, but is there any goals you kick that you feel is your best goal you've ever kicked? It can be at junior level, it can be at training, it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be a WAFLW game.
I think best goal I've ever kicked was probably round 1 of my first season in Rogers Cup, and I kicked a pretty big goal, probably the longest goal I've ever kicked from range-wise. It's probably from 35, 40, probably 40 out, and, I honestly had never played much forward line in my junior career. I didn't start playing forward line until I started playing waffle, but, I took this set shot and it was a pretty good one, and it was just my first goal I had ever kicked in Rogers Cup, and it felt pretty good.
That's good. Now, how did you? Now you say it's your first goal. So how was the celebration? Did people get around you? Did you do a certain celebration? How was that moment?
I definitely didn't do any embarrassing celebrations, which is good. I'm glad. But yeah, all the girls did really get around me, and I got more bumps and hits from the girls getting super excited from the goal rather than the game.
That's interesting. Now, if you were to, you said that you're not really a celebrator. So, if you were to pull out a goal celebration of any kind, what would you bring out and why?
Oh, I think I'd just do the classic, like two fists or something like that. I really couldn't. I don't know. I'm not too creative when it comes to on field. Like if something like that happened, I probably wouldn't really know what to do.
If people were to say hypothetically throw some suggestions at you, would they be something depending on what it is? Of course, would you be open to hearing some celebration moves?
Potentially, but I'd probably forget in the moment when I kick a goal. I'm like, oh, I just kicked a goal. Not really like, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be able to kick the goal if in the back of my mind I was like, this is a celebration I'm going to do after.
So nothing's in that back pocket. There's nothing. If I'm going to put one suggestion to you, Ruby, and one of the girls, or two of them, I think I might have mentioned this. I think someone said if they kick 3 goals in one game, they're going to pull this out. And someone said they might pull this out if they kick a goal because they never kick goals. And this celebration, I seen in the cricket just over a month ago from a West Indian cricketer named Kevin Sinclair. He got his test debut wicket and he got the wicket. He did a run, like, I don't know, ran sideways, and then he did 3 backflips. I'm sure, is that something that you wouldn't be able to pull out, or would you be able to pull that out?
Probably not anymore. I did used to do acro and gym, but I think now I'm a little bit rusty. Maybe I could do a cartwheel. I think that would be sufficient enough.
No, that wouldn't. I mean, I just don't know how that cricketer does that. And apparently he's done that not just then, he's done it before, and almost something wickets he gets. Amazing how you could do it so many times and not butcher it.
Yeah, I probably would. I probably would butcher it and really embarrass myself there.
You're talking about celebrations. That might be embarrassing then if you butcher that. Now, what do you feel is the best individual game you've ever played in Ruby that's got you into the position that you're in now?
That's definitely a hard one because I feel like it's a build up.
Yeah.
But I think in 2022 I had a pretty good, more breakout season for me, and I think it was just like a random Rogers Cup game, and I was just playing really well. I think I'd kicked 2 goals, 3 goals by the time it was halftime, and then I got pulled out of that game and put in to play the Rezzies game. That was following my game, so I played a game of Rezzies after I played a game of Rogers Cup, and I think even after playing a game and a half, I really held my ground, and I wasn't really ever thinking about, well, wasn't really ever in the running for senior footy until kind of then.
Who loves the limelight, the attention, the camera at West Perth or any previous teammates, and they can't get enough of it, and why?
Oh, I'd say Mia Russo loves a little bit of limelight, but slightly Ebony Jackson.
Hmm.
I think she loves the limelight because she's a bit of a comedian.
Interesting. That I didn't really hear nothing at the thing, the goalkeeping thing. So maybe we have to try and see. Okay, so what's something she does that makes her the comedian? Because I didn't see any side of that.
Really? Oh, I don't know, at training, and she's usually pretty good to crack a good joke or make a fool of herself a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, what's something someone does at the club that you can't stand, whether it's leaving rubbish around, just being flat out annoying, anything that jumps to mind that someone does, or someone that does something that you don't like?
Well, so we have lockers, and my locker buddy is Taylor Drummond. We're like kind of pinned up in the corner.
Yeah.
And it's so annoying when she opens her locker onto mine and then I can't get my stuff out, and she kind of spreads the stuff a little bit.
So she leaves that door open so you can't open yours, basically, or wide open.
Yeah, wide open.
Oh, that's not good enough comment. Come on. So who do you feel the best player in the FLW competition is? Because I feel like it's so even. You can go like the men's, some standouts, but the women's one, I think it's pretty even. You got Monconti, Jazz Garner, Ash Riddell, Ebony Marinoff, Laura Garner, Ali Morfitz, Ali Goldsworthy, Ella Roberts. There's so many names you could put into that category. Who would you put in that spot?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do love Monconti, but I think either the Pressbarker sisters, I think they're pretty good, and I do love watching both of them.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that again, the names you could put in there. There's so many names you could put. I didn't even list off all of them, but they're another two that you could put into that spot. Who would you say is the toughest opponent you've ever had to match up on? Or is there a particular team, if you don't know the name?
No, for sure. I think when I was at Claremont, definitely Mia Russo comes to mind, and Kayla Vanderheer definitely comes to mind. They're two girls who are just so tough and, have such great ball sense. They're so hard to defend, but also, they're tough girls and they'll chase you down and get you in a good tackle.
So you mentioned earlier about playing some other sports. What are some other sports outside of footy that you did have? Was it the running side of things and that?
I think I did a lot of sport in school. I played volleyball. I played a little bit of basketball outside and inside of school. I played netball. I did a lot of running. I did lots of cross country and middle distance running. Yeah, I feel like those are kind of my really main sports. I did a little bit of touch rugby, which I quite liked, but I kind of towards the end I was really more committed to footy.
Yeah. How did you feel you performed at those other sports? And would you say you performed better at some than you did at the other?
Yeah, for sure. Probably, I don't know, volleyball I put not too much effort into. I was more there to be with my friends. But
Yeah.
I think, like, as I started to play footy, my fitness got so much better, but also, like, I was able to transfer things over to from footy to other sports, and that kind of helped me improve in other sports.
That's good. So, mark or goal of the year, which one would you rather do and why?
Oh, mark of the year, I couldn't do goal of the year. I'd have to follow it up with a celebration. So I think mark of the year would have to be my thing.
Fair
And
enough.
I do love a little bit of a cheeky mark, like just out of the blue, bit
Okay.
of sit on someone's shoulders or something like that.
That'd be cool. I mean, every time I ask people this question, Rubes, it's always a mixed chance, 50-50, and I can see why, because both are so good. I suppose if I'd personally choose a goal, because I just love goals and playing when I did play up forward and doing videos like I do, the goal kicking ones. But, Mark, you can get a nice new profile picture too, if it's been recorded or filmed or photographed or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Would you be one, if you are to pull off a mark or one of those goals, would you be one that would post it?
Unless it had been posted by someone else and tagged, I'd repost it, but I wouldn't post it by myself. I think I'd feel a bit shameless.
I mean, if you were to pull something like that off, especially if it's something that you never expect to continuously do, I mean, it'd be good to do that. I wouldn't be against. I certainly would be doing that, but that's each their. Yeah, that's fair enough. Some teammates you've been impressed by, they kind of fly under the radar when they are a bit underrated and don't really get talked about as much as they should. They can be previous teammates or current.
Yeah. Well, someone from West Perth is definitely redone. She has just come from Amos into WAFLW, and she is really at league standard. She's in the midfield, and she is so incredible. She has so much power and drive, and she's got a great ball sense. She's a smart player, but she's so strong. She can break through a tackle, and she tackles so hard. So she's definitely underrated. I think, this season when people start to see her, they'll start to rate her.
That's good. So, what are some fun facts about you that people may not know?
Definitely, I grew up in the country in Mullawa on a farm. When I was younger, I used to ride horses. There wasn't much to do there, so definitely liked horses. I live with Matilda Bain. That's also a fun fact. We both play at West Perth, and I think that adds a bit of spice to everything. Yeah, there's not too much fun facts about me. I kind of don't have too much to say.
That's fair enough. Two's better than none. Now, defenders. I know you play a defender role, so you'll now understand the meaning of this. Defenders, I feel like they don't get much love than what the other positions do. Obviously, the forwards have a Coleman medal, and the midfielders have a Brownlow, and even Rucks these days have the Brownlow. I don't care what anyone says. The Brownlow is clearly a midfielder's award, and the Coleman's self-explanatory. Do the defenders deserve their own form of an official title award from a public point of view? I know internally, clubs privately might recognise those guys and girls, but from a public point of view, from an AFL and AFLW point of view, should there be an official defenders award too?
Oh yeah, for sure. Being a defender is hard work, and I feel like it's a lot more stressful than any other position, and you don't get much of the glory for all the effort. I don't know. It's very selfless. It's a selfless position, I feel like.
For sure. What do you think of the name? Have you got any name suggestions that you would call it? Or if you don't, what do you think of the name Golden Fist? The late Danny Frawley obviously used it on Bounce, and they still use it in his honour. And they have a good replica trophy of the big Golden Fist. They click the button, it shoots out when it's not broken. And they use it. Do you like that name and that type of name, or would you have something different? Or if you've got a particular name you got in mind?
No, I like that name. I feel like I don't have any better ideas. It's quite a hard thing to name, I think.
Fair enough. That is a good name, and it could be a good tribute to Danny as well. Obviously, he was a defender. They used it as a piss take at first, I suppose, but obviously got serious towards the end and still is now. Now, these questions can always go interesting. The teammates get Hearts could be broken. Teammates could be best mates of you now. Now, first one. Who is the best chatterbox of the club?
Ebony Jackson.
Nice. Again, like I said before, I didn't notice that, but that's interesting. Hidden talent, that must be her then. Keep it quiet because I didn't notice it. All right. You're stuck on a deserted island with teammates, Ruby. Who would you want to bring and not want to bring?
I wouldn't bring Kayla. I just don't think she'd survive out there. Yeah, I don't think her camping skills are very good after what I saw on camp. But I think I would probably, that's a hard one because there definitely are a few girls that would be able to keep me safe and keep me well fed. But I think I would take Tali McVie. You know, she's quite tall and athletic. She could probably chase down dinner and cook me dinner and keep me safe.
Nice, and always can reach off high places then.
Yeah.
Very smart. I love the thought process people are getting into this question recently because some people would just purely name, the ones they want to bring are their best mates, and the ones they don't want to bring people that not people they don't like, but that can kind of tick them off a little bit. But it's nice to hear some thought into it, and a lot of people have lately, which is good to see. Because you need to be smart on these things. You need smart people at these events that you'd want to bring, not people that aren't the brightest.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, these questions get more interesting. Who is the loudest and quietest teammate?
The loudest and quietest. That's quite a hard one. I think sometimes it's probably Caitlin Roper.
Yep.
I think she can be so quiet, and then 1 minute she'll just be talking.
So she could be both.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't heard that example. That's an interesting one. Most prized possessions, Rubes, are your own.
My most prized possession, I would say my phone. I think I have everything on there. But probably my car as well. I don't think I could live without my car.
Good answers. I love that you said the phone. I love the honesty there because people that obviously around your age at 18, and I'm not that much older, is people our age, they love their phone. And if they say they don't, they're completely full of shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it may not be, the most prized possession per se or a high-ranked one, but it's definitely more than halfway. It's anyone that says it's not, they're full of it. They're full of it.
Yeah, I think my phone's definitely quite high up.
Exactly. And, for God's sake, you need it to communicate with people, don't you? What, are you going to fly it away and hope that someone sees it? It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's got my whole life on it, so
That too.
Yeah, I don't think I have any bank cards anymore. They're all on my phone.
So okay, yeah.
I wouldn't be able to pay for anything.
Yeah, gee, see, exactly. That'd be hard. Gee, if you don't have a phone or don't use it, gee, how are you going to do all that?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the biggest, most controversial food questions you'll probably ever get these days in this current day and age. Let's see how you go. I've had a few girls on recently from Perth, just Pike and Paige Linton. Now 4 out of 4. Let's see how you go here, Rubes. Now, is it a chicken palmy or is it something else?
Oh, it's a chicken palmy. It's definitely not a palmer.
Thank you very much. You're 1 for 1. And like I say to everyone that says the right answer, even people that say the wrong answer, how the hell could it be something different when it's spelled P-A-R-M-I? It's in the name. There's no A, there's no E-Y, there's no O. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Right, let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Tomato sauce, cupboard or fridge?
Me and Matilda do keep it in the fridge.
Okay, if you had your own personal choice, would that be the answer?
I never really thought about it until we started keeping it in the fridge. I never really used tomato sauce that much.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, any full sauce then.
Fridge. As soon as it's open, it goes in the fridge.
Okay, we're 1 for 2, but that's okay. At least we got one so far. Now this one seems to be one of the biggest controversial food top questions as well. Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
No.
Good. 2 for 3. Like that. Where's the last one? No, that was it. Okay. 2 out of 3. I'll take that. Now, what is your favourite food?
Oh, I have a lot of favourite foods. I do love food. But something that's kind of like my guilty pleasure is I really like going to Macca's and getting a McNugget meal with some sour sauce.
Go.
Yeah. It's a bad habit of mine which I'm trying to quit, but I love going to delis and getting continental rolls.
Okay.
That's kind of something I do like. Or
Nice. What's
going
your
Yochi.
Sorry, go
I
on.
love Yochi. Going to get some Yochi.
I've heard that actually. I don't know if you've seen this part of the clip, but when Karis won the goal comp, she was so excited, not only because she won, but she said on film that she's getting free Yoshi after. What is Yoshi?
Yochi's frozen yogurt, but it's like
I thought that's what it was.
it's just got all these great toppings. Like it's so much better than any other frozen yogurt place.
So I have heard of it before. I just wasn't 100% confident what it was, and I didn't want to say it was something that it was not. So I thought that was my guess. Good. Now you didn't mention it there, but what is your go-to order with the continental place that you mentioned?
I always like get their stock standard continental roll, just like salami, bit of ham, bit of mortadella, like all the veggies and stuff like that on like a nice crunchy roll.
That's a good one. This I was going to say. Obviously, Mac, you said you go to what it is with the nuggets. Food you don't like.
I'm not fussy at all. So like I pretty much will eat anything, but I am not a huge burger person. Like I'm not massive on burgers.
Any
I like
ties or
chicken burgers, and that's about it. I don't really like beef burgers.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's actually something I've heard recently. It's not me, but I've heard other people say that's an interesting one. Now it's coming to mind. Now, every WA girl seems to get shocked when I say I don't know what this place is. It must be a WA thing. I don't know. I hadn't really heard of it. I might have heard of it, but I didn't know what it was until the last month has been shoved down my throat to remind me what it is. Sombreros. Do you go there at all?
I'm more of a GYG girl, but I think every footy player, like every girl's footy player, loves Mexican takeout. Like,
I love Mexican burritos, which is what some of the girls say they get there. But is that a Perth thing? Was that a nationwide thing? What the hell? What is it? I need closure now. I'm gonna have to Google this.
I thought sombreros was a nationwide thing. I thought it was a commonly like had thing all over Australia, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, well, definitely all the Perth girls have said. I've never heard anyone outside of the Perth girls ever mention it before, ever. So I don't know if it's a Perth thing. Maybe it's popular in Perth and it's nothing somewhere else. But yeah, I've heard that a lot, and now I've been fully trained per se on what the hell sombreros is. And to be honest, now that I keep hearing it, I actually don't mind it because I like burritos.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely got a good feed. I mean, I like GYG better personally, but I would go to either and be happy.
Something very similar, I assume.
Yeah, Guzman Y Gomez.
Right, I've heard that answer. I've heard that answer too before. What is the best dish Ruby could cook if you do cook? If not, is it something nice and basic?
Yeah, I do cook. Honestly, I do just make myself steak and salad sometimes, and with some chips as well. Like, I think that's just an easy thing to make for me throughout the summer, something I like, but I do make a good homemade palmy.
Well, that's a good, yeah. Hear that, everyone? Palmy, not the other rubbish. That's good. Now, with chips, so just thinking about food makes me hungry, but chips. Now, what type of chips do you prefer? Do you prefer those thick type chips, the thin ones? Which ones do you prefer, or whatever?
I guess it depends what I'm feeling like. But I mean, other than the Macca's chips, I prefer a thick cut usually.
That's fair enough. Now, this could go anywhere. Quirks someone would say that you have, Rubes, that you wouldn't necessarily like to admit.
Oh, I think I'm a little bit like, I'm quite clumsy. I'm often falling down or upstairs. Like, I actually locked myself out of my house the other day with no keys, just because like I kind of accidentally hit the door and it closed, and I was locked out. So I'm quite clumsy with things.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take for Matilda or whoever to rescue you then in that moment?
Oh, she was actually on the way to training and she had to turn around and come get me.
Good.
So
good. She passed the vibe, the roommate tick.
oh yeah, for sure.
That's good. Now, a few more for you, Rubes. The real pressure coming on. Celebrity crush.
Oh, that's such a hard one. I think Jacob Elordi just has to be the one.
Okay. Fair enough. How would you fancy yourself in front of the goals?
I'd say on a good day, I think I'm pretty safe, but you never know. I feel like maybe I'm getting a little bit rusty, been in the back line, haven't had much forward line action recently, so
yeah, that's fair.
Know.
If you were to, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, correct me if I did, but what would be the best goal you'd want to ever, not that you have done, if you can be as unrealistic as you want here, what type of goal would you want to do? Would it be a check side? Would it be a torp after the siren? What type of goal, you can be as unrealistic as you want, would you like to pull out?
Honestly, I think I would just like to do a snap from the boundary, just to really put it on the foot as quick as possible, snap from boundary.
That'd be nice. Now, how do you're not a big celebrator, as you say, clearly you've established that, but how are you with crowd hecklers? Do you ever get any crowd hecklers? And if so, are you one to give them advice back? Do you ignore them? Do you wait to do something important in the game to then give back to them? How are you with crowd hecklers?
I think with crowd hecklers, I'm a little bit of a laugh in their face sort of person. Like, maybe I do something good, take a good mark, and I've heard them have a bit of a go at something in the game. I'll turn towards the crowd and have a bit of a laugh, kind of rub it in their face. But, I try and keep my mouth a little bit. Just
good. That's the way to go about it. They're in the cheap seats, it's one of the catchphrases is, and you're over there and they're there. So you're the stars on the show, if you know what I mean. So, and they're not. Hey, they came up clearly. They think you're all right, or as a team at least, if they're going to watch. So, now you're going to put your hat on here, list management hat on, or let's say you're the AFL CEO for a day, Rubes. If you could change football in the AFL or AFLW competition, what would you do? What would you add, or what's something you'd get rid of?
I would get rid of the limitation to interchange. Like, I don't know. I think that that kind of puts it off a little bit.
Yep.
Like whether they want to rotate more people and stuff like that.
Exactly. I agree with you there. I don't understand why there's a limit. These clubs and that whinge about players being gassed and we have to rest players because they blah blah blah, all that rubbish. I'm sure that would help some of those players being managed in games or managed in weeks coming by resting him a whole game. That's a good one. I like that. Now, one more sort of real pressure coming on. If you could map out your dream scenario, Rubes, for this year for you at WAFLW level and just your footy career as a whole, what would that dream scenario be for you?
I think probably making the finals this year. That would be something that I would love to do in the league. But honestly, making like team of the year or something like that, WAFLW team of the year, a bit of a high aspiration, but it would definitely be a massive honour.
Very good, Rubes. Real pressure coming on. All the best for the rest of the year. And we're not going to forget, good luck with that league debut this week. What day and time is it?
It's Saturday night. I think we start at 5 or 5:30.
Nice. Under the night lights, bigger stage are on. There's probably more people going to be there at that time. The pressure is all the best. I'm sure you'll have a great night and hopefully you get the win and kick a goal. Even if you're playing back one, kick a goal.
I'll kick a goal from back pocket for sure.
Hey, nice and easy. Thanks, Rubes.
Perfect. Thank you so much.